Tory Horton is the kind of player who makes the 5th round dangerous, because on paper he looks like a day 3 receiver. In reality, the dude has nightmare written all over him.
Good punt, driving Horton all the way back to his 6-yard line. Horton on the return at the 20, right up the middle to the 30. Now Horton to the outside. Tory Horton down the sideline, and it's a touchdown! 95 yards!
The Seahawks ran Horton with the 166th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, which means the league looked at a 6'2" receiver with real production, real speed, returnability, and big play juice, then collect the loose end. Thanks, we're good. And all Horton did was score on his first NFL reception, add 4 more through the air on only 12 more catches, and set a franchise record for the longest punt return touchdown in Seahawks history. He's also the only cat in the league's 100-plus year history to land 2 receiving touchdowns and a punt return for a score in the first 3 weeks of the season. So again, we understand why some of you were pissed when Horton didn't get a mention at our 2026 first glance at the team. The thing is, Horton is no stranger to adversity or success. He started his college career in Nevada, then transferred to Colorado State, where he became one of the best receivers in the Mountain West. In 2022 and 2023, he posted back-to-back 1,000-yard 8 TD seasons. That's not a cute little system receiver stat line, boys. It's a grown-ass man spending Saturdays rooming DB's self-esteem. Then 2024 happened. Horton's senior season was supposed to be his launch pad. Instead, a knee injury cut short and developed into a storm cloud that hung over his draft stock. Without it, he probably isn't sitting there in the 5th round for Seattle. He's too productive, too fast, and too experienced for that. And yeah, but speed matters. At the 2025 NFL Combine, Horton ran a 4.41.
Running 4.41 off of a ACL tear, that's pretty darn good.
It's really good.
For a receiver with his size, that number should get your attention. So now the dude isn't just some possession target who wins by hand D's into your face. He can stretch the field, work after the catch, and add value as a punt returner, which is used for a second-year guy trying to force his way on the field. But the reason Horton's so interesting for Seattle isn't just the measurables, it's the fit. The Seahawks already have Jackson Smith-Njigba as the polished technician. They have Rasheed with the speed and Kupp in the clutch. So Horton doesn't need to walk in and be a savior. He needs to be a return option, a size mismatch, and a guy who can punish defenses for rolling too much coverage over the JSN. That's how 5th round picks survive, not by being perfect, but by being useful early and then growing into something bigger. There are questions, obviously. Then he has to hold up. He needs to prove he can separate against NFL corners, and like less young receivers, he'll need to show he can handle the physical side of the pro game without getting treated like carry-off luggage. But the upside's legit, and he showed that in 2025. Tory Horton is one of those picks where the draft slots tell one story and the college tape tells another. The league saw a damaged resume where Seattle saw a receiver with size, speed, production, and a chip already installed. That's not a bad Bowery ticket. That's exactly the kind of Bowery ticket good teams buy.
Man, we're going to take you right here at 166, all right?
You did a great job coming up here. Love watching your film. Love how you compete. And I have very high expectations for you, all right, man?
Yes, I appreciate it.
And that brings us to the part of this thing that should scare the hell out of defensive coordinators. How exactly are you supposed to cover all 4 of these guys? JSN just spent 2025 turning the entire league into a 7-on-7 tournament. He got 119 passes for 1,793 yards and 10 touchdowns in an offense that finished near the bottom of the league in pass attempts.
Some pressure though. Hit as he throws, man open. Guess who? Smith-Njigba. Touchdown Seattle.
Roll a safety towards JSN, and Rasheed is running away from single coverage before the corner is finished opening his hips. Sit back to guard against Shaheed's speed, and Kupp starts carving out all the empty space underneath like he has a defensive playbook tucked inside his wristband. Now throw Horton into the mix. He's bigger than JSN and Rasheed, faster than most receivers his size, and already proved he can turn limited opportunities into touchdowns. Seattle doesn't need to force feed him 12 targets a game either. They need to put him on the backside of formations, move him around, and make the defense pick its poison. Put your 4th corner on him, and Horton's going to eat your lunch. Leave a safety over the top, and Seattle gets lighter numbers against the run. If you play zone, JSN and Kupp are going to find the soft spot while the defense is still pretending it disguised the coverage. JSN is the alpha. He can win outside, inside, short, intermediate, or deep. and he's reached the point where the coverage can be perfect, then he's still going to torch you. Kupp's the old assassin who may not have his 2021 legs anymore, but he still understands leverage better than most defensive backs trying to cover him. She hates the burner and forces safeties to back up, corners to bail early, and coordinators to call coverages they don't actually like because one missed jam can turn into 6 points.
With the seam, Rasheed breaks through, still going. Shaheed's going to take it all the way.
Now Horton is the variable. He can be the vertical shot, the red zone body, the catch and run option, or the guy Seattle forgets about for 2 quarters before dialing up one play that ruins somebody's afternoon. Right now he's listed behind JSN of the depth chart, but the reality is that defenses are going to see a lot of different looks from this unit, and every one of them is going to be a nightmare to cover. So don't be surprised if Horton turns 40 or 50 catches into 7 or 8 touchdowns. If defenses treat him like a developmental 5th rounder, they're going to get scorched. So good luck with that. The iron is that Horton may become more important to the offense while becoming less visible in the return game. His damage last season came on punt returns where he averaged 14.9 yards on 16 returns and pounced one from 95 yards. Now to see how it sounds for Shaheed for the entire season, this cat's not merely another option back there, he's one of the best returners in football. After arriving in Seattle at the trade deadline, he returned both a kickoff and a punt for touchdowns during the regular season, then opened the divisional round with a 95-yard kickoff return that basically told Stanford its afternoon was done. Seattle can still use Horton as the backup punt returner, but unless Shaheed gets hurt or Seattle decides to protect him, Horton probably won't get enough returns to reproduce last year's special team numbers. That's not a demotion, it's a luxury. Seattle has 2 guys who can flip a game from anywhere in the field, and the returners were just allowance part of a unit that was ridiculous from top to bottom. Jason Myers led the NFL with 171 points, made 41 field goals, and hit 9 from at least 50 yards. Michael Dixon earned second-team All-Pro honors after spending the season making routine punts look like laser-guided air sprites. And Chris Stoll returns a long snapper, which is exactly what you want from that position. The same reliable dude whose name you barely hear. Jay Harbaugh is also back coordinating the operation, and Seattle kept some core guys who did the dirty work around the stars. Chance Surratt is back after racking up 11 special teams tackles in just 11 games. Drake Thomas, Josh Joby, and Ty Akoda are the guys sealing lanes, beating blocks, covering kicks, and making the glamorous stuff possible. Including the playoffs last year, the Seahawks scored 5 special teams touchdowns. Return scores are volatile as hell. One block gets missed, one flag comes out, one punter kicks away from the return, some to the same unit looks less explosive even when it's doing everything correctly. So expecting 5 TDs again would be greedy. Seahawks fans want more. In the kicking game, Jason Myers is unlikely to repeat 171 points because that number was historically stupid, ranking 3rd all time, and Seattle may finish drives better, attempt fewer field goals, or simply stop giving up 9 chances for beyond 50. That doesn't mean the unit got worse. It means last season set a bar that looks like it was installed by a drunk pole vaulter. The smarter question is whether Seattle will match every touchdown, every bomb from Myers, and every coffin corner punt from Dixon. It's whether they still have the ingredients to match last year. And they do. The coordinator is back, the specialist trio is back, the best returner is back. Most of the coverage core is back as well, and Horton, the guy who may lose touches because Shaheed is so dangerous, gives them another proven home run option if they ever need him. So will Seattle's special teams be as spectacular as last year? Repeating that in any game-changing plays would be a statistical anomaly. But can they still be the best special teams unit in football? Hell yes they can. And that's part of the Tory Horton story entering year 2. He can lose a return job, gain a bigger offensive role, and somehow make both units more dangerous. That's not getting squeezed out. That's just the championship roster getting even deeper. So let us know what you think in the comments. Is Tory Horton ready to become Seattle's next breakout star, or is this receiving room simply too crowded for him to make a major leap? Drop your prediction in the comments, and if you want more NFL stories with an edge, hit subscribe and turn on notifications because the season is coming. The snap count is just getting started. We'll see you in the next one.